Well, we told you yesterday that Ticketmaster unveiled plans where they would apparently be requiring concert goers to have either the COVID vaccination or a negative COVID test before attending a show. And it looks like Deftones guitarist Stephen Carpenter has no plans on getting a COVID vaccine. He does not believe in vaccinations, and he also has revealed that he believes the earth is flat. I'm not kidding about that. So here we go. We've got the PRP here. I've linked to it in the description. Lots of great coverage over there. He appeared on the Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli podcast. And first of all, I just want to say I do respect the balls on Stephen Carpenter for putting his views out there. I'm not here to knock him or anything. It's silly, but you know what? Conspiracy theories are fun. And so I'm not here to diss him. You know, take everything everybody says with a grain of salt. But, you know, he was asked outright if he's a flat earth dude, and Carpenter says, absolutely. If you think you live on a spinning flying space ball, you're in a cult. He went on to dispute the concept of space and space travel as it is commonly presented, saying the only thing that was ever launched into space was humanity's imagination. And then he goes on to says, here are 3 things you need to keep your clarity through all of this mental insanity. This will keep you straight through all of it. If you remember these 3 things, and these 3 things are 1, projection, 2, incrementalism, and 3, boogeyman everything. The boogeyman is constantly being projected, and he's incrementally getting worse all the time. Boogeyman, boogeyman, boogeyman. He goes on to say, I literally filter through the fact that I know I'm not on a flying, spinning space ball, and the boogeyman is always trying to get me. And then he is asked about his beliefs on being a flat earther. He says, the simplest terms for my perspective with the flat earth is simply, I know we're not on a spinning, flying space ball. Now, we're actually is and all that, and to what depths it goes to, there's all this to be discovered, and we're working on those things, and it's just exciting, you know, to see him from like a much clearer perspective once you acknowledge it, because something that's blatant and it's everything, and you just have to, you know, understand what you're looking at. And I mean, you don't feel it. I mean, if you're walking on a treadmill 0.5 mile per hour and I unplugged it, you would feel it. He further said how he came to believe in the flat earth dynamics. He says, when you tell people that the earth is flat, I want to ask and answer all the questions that you want to answer as well. But I want to first acknowledge that you don't live on the spinning space ball, because once you acknowledge that, then you get to a place where it's like, okay, we're legitimately asking the same question. People are still discovering lots of things in regards to that. You're going to always fall for everything if you don't know that you're actually not in reality. And that's the entire point of even mentioning the earth is flat. Like when you're saying, you know, when you're having a conversation with people, like, I don't mind having conversations with people, especially even if they're completely different opinions than mine, and especially if they are, because that's actually where I'll cut through all of this. It's like, all right, I'm going to take you to the maximum when it comes to crazy. I'm going to let you laugh because I want you to know for at least 3 months straight, when a friend of mine brought it up to me and another mutual friend of ours, I laughed at him every single time he brought it up. I told him he was insane. I was like, damn, bro, you ain't seen the videos, you ain't seen the pictures, you know, like everybody. I went through the whole, you know, laughter and you're insane, because really one of my favorite subjects in existence is space. Like, I effing love Space Infinity. He goes on, you know, he talks in depth. Wow, this is a lot of typing from the PRP. You can read all of this over on their site. He adds, once I realized that there's no such place as space, and we're in this, you know, created environment, if you will, it changed everything. I immediately lost all the space fear. I have no fears of us ever being struck by some rogue asteroid or meteor, comet, rogue planet, no solar flares. And then he just goes on and on and on. He then starts talking about vaccines, and he says, there's never been one single vaccine that's ever worked, ever. All poisons. You can never get it out of your body. Your body has no means to expel it. It's stuck in you forever, and you just suffer with whatever it becomes. He was asked about the success of a polio vaccine. He says, we never eradicated it, and we never actually learned. I'm grateful for COVID for teaching the actual germ theory, and the virus is something the body creates. You are not capable of catching a virus from somebody. You develop viruses because you have some type of poison or toxin within you, and that you poisoned toxic created cells etc., etc. I mean, there's just very interesting perspective that he has on this. There's a few ways you can respectfully dispel the flat earther theory. I've watched a documentary on this because I love conspiracy theories. I think they're fun. And in one particular documentary I watched, they use a laser beam and they extend it over a very long distance. And in that distance, it's supposed to go through a small circular hole. Well, if the earth was flat, it is going to go through that hole easily. But if not, there's going to be a very slight arc that you can't detect with your eyeballs. And when they shot this laser, it naturally didn't go through the circular hole. Of course, I could go on about how you fly planes. I've flown to Europe. I've flown around the world, and you can see the arch of the Earth from the plane. You can look at the moon in the sky. You can get a telescope and look at other planets and see that they too are round. So I just think there's been enough people that have gone out into space. Like, for instance, you have numerous past high-level officials in the government who claim to have seen extraterrestrial vehicles in the sky, and I believe in that stuff, but you don't have a bunch of these former high-level officials coming out and saying, oh, the Earth is actually not round. And I'll point you to this video where somebody went to Buzz Aldrin, a former astronaut, and told him the Earth was flat, and this was his response.
Away from me, you're a coward and a liar and a thief.
Damn! The backstory on that is this person was walking up around Buzz Aldrin and saying, why won't you swear on the Bible that you walked on the moon? Buzz Aldrin is a pretty out there guy. I think that if the moon landing was fake, they would pick a little bit more of a rehearsed and polished individual to sell that story. But I don't know, guys. I just reject the sentiment that the Earth is flat or that vaccines don't work to some degree. They're not perfect, of course, either. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Hopefully I wasn't too preachy here. I know that some people are going to disagree with me. I say all of this respectfully. I respect the fact that he's willing to share his own beliefs, even if I don't agree with them. All right, folks, that is all for now. Thanks so much for joining us today. Again, if you're new here, be sure to subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on breaking news and updates.